What's up, guys? I hate you just missed that great.
Final score, it's the final score. It's Stevie's new intro song.
Please, guys, don't stop watching because of that. Anyway, guys, what's up? What's going on? We have had a busy week this week. If you've noticed on the fly, we've had 2 episodes out. I guess we're trying to make up for that lost time that little gap where we were out. But anyway, you know what week it is, especially if you're a wrestling fan, and
Easter.
Easter week. Yeah.
That's right.
Not only that, but it is WrestleMania week, and WrestleMania 41 coming
And what's
out of
bigger than Jesus? Wrestling.
who gets struck down. Uh, WrestleMania 41 coming straight out of Las Vegas this year, and some interesting matches in here. Some that I can't really get into so much, but we'll see. With me, and he likes to come on the show every once in a while, and uh, especially during the wrestling episodes. With me is Kyle from LaGrange Barber. Kyle, fifth quarter Kyle. That's what we'll call it. Fifth quarter Kyle. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, Stevie? What does it feel like to have a celebrity of my caliber on your
Uh,
podcast?
I just can't handle it, dude. Can't handle
I mean, it's got to be the biggest get. I know I've been up here before, but
it.
you know,
Yeah.
whenever I'm on the final score on the fly, whichever show this is,
Didn't
it's
you make? Didn't you come up here the first time we talked about Atari?
no, I think I don't know. I
Well, it was
think maybe you
wrestling.
were
Something
audio
about
only
wrestling
back
because we talked
then.
for like 3 hours one night.
Yeah, doing it like a wrestling podcast when it was audio only. But yeah, the first time I was on like the Facebook feed of one of your shows was
Atari.
we did the Atari podcast with your former co-host, and God, that's been what 2 years ago now.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. Um. So WrestleMania week, as always. This week, no, they're talking about Saturday and Sunday, between Saturday and Sunday, like 19 hours of coverage with WrestleMania weekend. Um, I love some wrestling, but well, for one reason, I'll be working this weekend too. But sorry, I won't be watching all 19 hours. I won't be glued to the tube that long.
You know, when I was a kid, I would have loved that. I mean, you
Oh
couldn't have
God,
got me.
yes.
Yeah, you couldn't have got me away from the TV. But as an adult, no, I'll watch the actual event Saturday night and Sunday night, and that's it. And I guess they're including the Hall of Fame in that, and I may watch the Hall of Fame, some of it anyway. But and we'll get into the stupid time of it being broadcast. But
Gosh.
19 hours of coverage is, I mean, that's a bit absurd. I always kind of, with the Super Bowl or the national championship games, and they have that wall to wall coverage that goes on for hours. I always wonder who the hell watches that. But I guess if your team's playing in it, you might. But like I say, 19 hours of WrestleMania coverage, unless you're a kid or you're just one of those people that live and die with the current product, like a nerd.
It's still
Um,
real to me, damn it.
nah, it ain't even them people, man. It's the I don't know. It's what Cornette calls neckbeards. It's the dudes in their basement that ain't never got laid. That are the only people that be watching it 19 hours besides kids.
Leave it to Cornette to come up with something. Uh, Speaking of Cornette, this one of my one of my most talked about Hall of Fame snubs got in this year, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. But the next one on the list is Jim Cornette at the Midnight Express, as far as Hall of Fame snubs that needs to be in there and be in there soon.
I think
Um,
Cornette will get in. I don't know that they'll put the Express in.
why do you think they wouldn't put them in?
Well, okay, they
They
never
put a
had a
Rock and
W.
Roll Express in.
Well, but Rock and Roll was in WWE. And I know they put people in that were never in WWE. I don't know. They might put the Midnight Express in. They deserve to be in. Three of the four members, or five, I guess there's five members technically. If you want to, Randy
Yeah,
Rose.
Ravishing
But
Randy.
yeah, I don't think
What about
Randy
Norvell
Rose
Austin?
and huh?
What about Norvell Austin?
No, I don't think Norvell Austin or Randy Rose are going to get in. But the other three, maybe. I do think Cornette, because you look at what Cornette did, his body of work. obviously, managing the Midnight in the NWA. You had his run in Mid South. You had him owning Smoky Mountain, starting his own promotion. You had him running OVW, which is responsible. His running OVW when he was in charge of developing talent. That was John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, Shelton Benjamin, on and on and on. He
Yeah.
should be in just on that alone. Obviously, managed the WWE World Heavyweight Champion in Yokozuna, managed the tag team champions with Bulldog and Owen. Um,
Yeah.
Cornette is probably, if you just look at what he did in WWE involvement, managing the world champion, managing tag team champions, and managing OVW during their greatest period of developing talent, forget anything else he did. Just he's probably one of the biggest missing pieces from WWE career, let alone what he did in the NWA, Mid South, et cetera, and Smoky Mountain.
What you said a while ago. You're talking about the Rock and Roll Express and WWE. Yeah, but I barely count that. That they were there for just like a minute, and that whole angle went to hell in a handbag quick. That was
You talking about the time with the NWA,
the NWA
the
and
Jeff Jarrett.
them being heels managed by Cornette.
Well,
That
they were there.
just,
They were there. I'm not making this up.
they were there for a couple of months because they
Yeah,
actually had a match with the Legion of Doom, which and that
yeah,
was everybody's
and
dream
in
match.
my head, they were there when they were in Smoky Mountain, also, but they weren't. That was the Bodies versus Steiners.
Yeah, yeah, because Smoky Mountain went from having working agreements with WCW 1 minute to WWE, and it lasted with WWE longer than it did with WCW. But um, I just I don't count Rock and Roll Express's time in WWF as much of a thing. And technically, if you want to get into it, the Midnight Express were in the WWE.
How?
You don't remember that?
Oh, the new Midnight Express.
Bodacious
We're gonna put
Bob,
them Bob Holly and Bob
Bart
Holly and Bart
Gunn.
Gunn would have been a fine tag team with Jim Cornette managing them if they were called literally anything
Anything else?
else.
Yeah, that was stupid. I never got along. See, that whole angle was messed up from the start when they did that, and I think they knew that after because I don't think you saw. I wonder how many matches the new well, you can't even call them the new Midnight Express because that was Stan and Bobby. Um, the newest Midnight Express was how many matches they had in WWE because they weren't around long either.
No, it was a bad idea. What they should have done with the whole angle. I mean, I get what they were trying to do. It was bad timing because the NWO was on the other channel.
Yes.
But had they done it without the NWO there, first, you had Jeff Jarrett as North American champion. Well, he should have had the world title. I know they ended up bringing Barry Windham in as world champion briefly. But had they put the world title on Jeff Jarrett to begin with, the NWA world title, and then not did the new Midnight and put the tag team titles on the Rock and Roll and had Cornette managing the Rock and Roll as heel in WWE, it could have worked had it been done right. But it was done poorly, and it looked second rate with the NWO over on
Yeah.
WCW.
Okay, so they let's see, Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart. That
Yep.
just yeah. They did beat the Headbangers for the NWA World Tag Team Championships, and they were defeated by the Border Patrol. Who the heck is the Border Patrol?
Border Patrol. I remember the name, but I don't. Who the hell was the Border Patrol?
I don't know. It
I
won't
do
let me.
remember the name. Google it, kids.
Hold on.
I can ask Alexa.
No, don't ask Alexa. She'll be coming up with uh, some kind of political.
President Donald Trump has
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Border Patrol. God
Border
Almighty.
Patrol wrestlers wrestling.
Border Patrol tag team.
Yeah.
So we'll find out who it was, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll let you know here briefly. Stevie is looking up this key information right now.
Agent Gunn and Agent Max. I don't know who that is.
What was the gimmick?
But they weren't part. They weren't. Okay, so I guess the Midnight Express was defending the title. The title was in WWE at the time, but they were also defending it because this
Yeah,
says,
they were doing independent shows. The
yeah,
NWA, Corluzzo, Jim or Corluzzo, and some other people. They did a big NWA. Do you remember this in the late '90s? I guess it was been '96 or '97. Whenever that stuff was going on with WWE, they had a.
1998
Was it '98? Was it that late?
in
Uh,
EBA Cop Middle School in Greenville.
you knew this?
I'm reading it off Cage Match right now. That's where
All
the
right,
title
so that
change
was
was.
what I was going to go to. What was the card that night?
That was I can't see the card, but that was where where the Midnight Express lost to the Border Patrol.
Okay, I remember. That's what I was about to ask you. If you remember, they did a big NWA card in '90. I thought it was '97. It was '98 in Greenville,
Hold
and I
on.
wanted to go. I don't know why I didn't get tickets and go, but Barry Windham. I remember Barry Windham was there. I remember Billy and or Bart and Bob were there. The New Midnight. Um, I want to say maybe Severin was there.
See, and about a week before they went Tarboro.
We got to find that card. We got to
I
find
look,
that card.
but it's not coming up.
There's some missing Eastern North Carolina wrestling history for you right there.
Yeah, because
For $1 million, I bet you would not have guessed that they lost the NWA World Tag Team titles on a non televised house show in Greenville, North Carolina.
and I don't understand who these guys are. I mean, let's just say overview. Who are they? Is
I
this
remember that.
is this No, I don't think it's the same one. I want to know. I'm wondering. No, that was the State Patrol. That was State Patrol.
That was I remember them in
Yeah.
WCW.
So, Agent Gunn and Agent Max is and that's all I can bring up. But anyway,
We need to find that card. So, what school was it in Greenville?
EBA Cock.
I thought Acock was a high school in Goldsboro. That's Charles B. Acock.
Well, it says EBA Cock Middle School. It's a middle school.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I remember the card. I remember it happening.
A couple of months before, they had one in Rocky Mount, and then earlier they had one in Williamson.
I do not remember Williamston.
Yes.
Who was on the card?
Get this one. Get this one, Kyle. This will floor you right here. February 11th, 1998, Lodi and Toad defeat the Border Patrol. Guess where this match took place at?
Lodi and Toad.
The Texas Two-Step in Greenville.
I remember Texas Two-Step.
Ricky Morton had a concert after that to follow up on his where was that one in Raleigh? He had a concert at
Long Branch. Long Branch. So, all right. So the Williamston card, because I was living in Williamston at that time. How the hell did I not know about that? What date was that?
That was January, February, April 11th, 1998.
Where at?
The Williamson High School.
And it was an NWA branded show.
Yep. Rock and Roll Express defeat the Border Patrol.
How in the hell would I not have known that?
It's a good question.
April '98. Let me go in the time machine here. God almighty.
I'm looking to see if I can find a card up here for it, but
I was going back and forth between Williamson and Kinston at that time, whether I was, living with my mom or living with my dad. I was 17. And I don't remember for sure if I was living in Kinston or living in Williamston. Honestly, I would have had to have been living in Kinston because there's no way I would have known about that living in Williamston.
Hold on. Maybe I got. Well, no, this is showing current.
Now we got to investigate this. We need to know who
Yeah,
was promoting.
We'll find.
We need to know who's promoting these shows in Eastern North Carolina for the NWA during that time, because it wouldn't have been Dennis Corluzzo.
I may have found a way to figure out the card now, but I will check into that. Anyway,
This is more interesting than WrestleMania, quite honestly.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Eastern North. I mean, you're talking NWA wrestling history in Eastern North Carolina in the late '90s. And like I said, I knew about the Greenville card, but I didn't go. But the one in Williamston, that floors me.
All right, so far I've got down to 2012.
All right.
Let's see, 2011. We're getting there.
All right, we just got to get 98. Just got to get to 98.
Well, you've got to click on a freaking page. It's going page by page on this
I
case.
got you. Yeah, it'll stop at 99.
If I go too far, you know.
I got you. 94.
A while ago, I got down to 1949. So
No, you don't want to do that.
yeah. 2008.
And if you're tuning in for Wrestlemania content, we will get to that.
While we're looking for this, and I'm getting close. What are they going to do with Randy Orton?
You mean because KO being injured?
Yep.
That's a good question. Is Zayn in a match?
Who?
Sami Zayn.
He's out right now, isn't he?
Is Zayn out too? Okay.
I think he's out too.
I have no idea. I mean, I know he RKO'd Aldis, but I mean,
something that somebody brought up earlier today was, what if Aldis comes out and has a match?
Aldis is a great wrestler. WWE fans have really never seen him wrestle, but he is a great wrestler. Speaking of the NWA, held the NWA World Title for a while.
We're in 1998, but
I wish
it's not showing There's one in Fayetteville. All right. Here's the one from Texas Two-Step.
All right. That's something, I guess.
Kid Dynamo defeats Eddie Brown. Never heard of him.
Yeah, no.
Mad Max defeats Venom. And I'm wondering, I think I know
who WCW Mad Max?
No, I think I know who Mad Max is.
I know who Venom is. Everybody knows who Venom is if you're from Eastern North Carolina. You know who Venom is, right?
Yeah, I know who Venom is. Mad Max is Chuck Coates.
Okay.
Who has been on Rage Wrestling several times. Let's see. Lodi and Toad defeat the Border Patrol. Mustafa defeats Timber the Lumberjack, which I've seen Timber.
Yeah, I have too.
And then this is a pretty good main event right here, especially for the Texas Two-Step. Gosh, this was in 98 too. Rob Van Dam
and Sabu.
With Bill Alfonso versus the Hardys.
I remember reading about that after the fact that happened at the Texas Two-Step and thinking, what the hell? But yeah, you're talking two ECW guys in 98 against the Hardys, who were, jobbers basically at the WWE at that point, or WWF. So that's
when you think about that, Kyle, you've got probably three soon to be WWE Hall of Famers. One, Van Dam's already in, and the Hardys are going to eventually go in.
Yeah, I think Sabu could get in.
You think Sabu will get in?
I think it's definitely possible, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. If Sabu gets in, then there's no reason the Midnight Express shouldn't get in.
Well, I agree. You got any of the other cards? The other Greenville card was way bigger. I remember Wyndham being on it. I remember seeing it promoted. The Williamson card I have no knowledge of.
I'm looking right now. Let's see. Tarboro. Here's a Tarboro one.
All right.
Mike Cannon defeats Gary Royal. I remember Gary Royal from being an enhancement talent for a long time.
Yeah, same.
Big Daddy D defeats Jason Gibson.
All right.
Sergeant Craig Pittman.
Oh, the Pitbull Craig Pittman.
Brad Anderson. He beats Brad Anderson.
Pee-wee?
No, that's Ole's. Ain't that Ole's? Or is that Gene?
Yeah,
that's
it is. No. Yeah, it is Ole's son. He wrestled in Smoky Mountain.
I thought his name was Bryant.
You may be right, actually. I don't know who the
Brad,
hell
I think Brad is Gene Anderson's son, because he was the one that he played. You remember that masked guy in Enhancement Talent in WCW, Zan Panzer?
I remember the name, yeah.
Yeah, that was him.
Okay.
So the Rock and Roll Express beats the Border Patrol. Mad Max defeats Ricky Nelson. And then Dustin Rhodes defeats Barry Windham in the main event. That's
There
a
you
tour.
go. That's nice.
Yeah. Okay,
Wow.
now
You had
Green.
Dustin was still he was still in WWE's Gold Dust at that time.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Now what do you have the
Here's
Greenville
here's
card?
the one in Greenville.
All right.
Mike Cannon over Thunderfoot number 2. I guess Thunderfoot number 1 was out. Colt Steele defeats Shane Helms, who you know as a Hurricane.
Yes, sir.
Mad Max defeats Mike Youngblood. Wow, listen to this match right here. Abdullah the Butcher, Barry Windham go to a no contest.
Yeah, that's that. I remember Barry being on that card.
And then the Border Patrol beats the Midnight Express, that title change. And then Lodi defeats Big Daddy D with Sexy Strawberry. Let me see if I see a Williamson up here.
You know, it really pisses me off that I missed all these cards. What are we doing, Stevie? How the hell did we miss all this?
I don't know how you missed. I mean,
How did you miss
I
it?
probably I would. Well, we didn't have social media at the time or anything like that, so it's probably hard for me to know about anything up that way. You were right there.
I wasn't in Greenville though. I don't even remember how I heard about that card in Greenville. I saw it promoted somewhere.
I don't see the Williamson one listed up here.
Well,
Here's one for Rocky Mount.
all right.
Dango Nagian defeats Christian York and Joey Matthews and Ken Dynamo and Shane Helms and Willow the Wisp. Willow the Wisp was Jeff
Yes,
Hardy.
Jeff Hardy. Yeah, good
Yeah.
God.
Billy Black defeats David Jericho. I guess that's Chris Jericho's brother. Let me see. Where I lost my Border Patrol beats Fly High Eddie and Mad Max. Fly High Michelle was his sister. Tatanka defeats Mr. Hughes. And then the Rock and Roll Express beats the Bushwhackers.
Man, I am pissed I missed all these cards. Oh well.
I just don't see the
No,
Williams.
no time machine available. Well, it's probably good. It was probably like the Steiner brothers against it's probably something really I don't know, it's probably crap, but in my head now it's gonna be the greatest card ever and I missed it.
Well, I mean, you think about it at the time. You think about it at the time. I mean, you wouldn't have known it. That's why when you go to one of these things, these independent cards, you never know who you might see who's going to be big later on.
Yeah.
Who
No,
would
I
ever
saw
thought that?
RVD. I saw RVD at the Pitt County Fair in 92 or 93, and then saw him on an indie show in Washington, North Carolina in 94. I don't know what RVD was so much in Eastern North Carolina in the 90s. I need to. I was about to say I need to ask him about that. Like I
Yeah, go
communicate
ahead.
regularly with
Give me a
Rob.
call right quick. Who? There was a Larry Zabisco Jr.
There's probably been some kind of junior of anybody at some point in time.
I was going to say I don't think it's really his son or anything.
No, I'm pretty sure not.
How would you go about getting that name though? With hey, sorry if I act like I'm your son.
You just put junior on it.
Yeah, I just can't find a Williamson one up here. It's not listed.
It's all right. There you go, guys. There's a history of NWA wrestling from the '90s. The WWE, or excuse me, at the time WWF NWA era, and they were running. And I'd love to know who was promoting those shows in Eastern North Carolina.
I've heard, and I don't know if he was doing it or not, but he was actually on the card. I know he's done some locally. That Ricky Nelson he used to promote some cards in this area, and I forget what the name of his promotion was, but
Yeah,
because he did one in, I want to say Rocky Mount. He did some in Rocky Mount, but it seems like that was way later than what this is right now.
And these were a lot of reoccurring talents too. Like they were using the same talents over and over.
Yeah.
And some of them were big names. So I mean, there was some money spent.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you get Barry Windham in there. Yeah, at the time at Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah,
Like
and
you said, Dusty Rhodes in '98, that was gold dust time.
exactly. And the rock and roll were still big names, and
And I'm sure Robert was demanding a lot of money, or he
you
was.
had Abdullah the Butcher. I mean that's Barry Windham, Abdullah the Butcher in Greenville is crazy to me.
I remember seeing a young Billy Kidman at Northampton High School before he went up to WCW and became part of Ravens flock. So
Nice.
yeah, that's my claim to fame. Before
Yeah, I
uh,
saw RVD before he was anybody. I saw the Hardys before they were anybody. Uh, Several
we're,
if I
talk,
think hard enough.
we're talking about them terrible before they were anybody.
Well, you know what I mean. I mean, they were always somebody, but not anybody.
So first things first, let's get to before we get into the matches. Let's go ahead and talk about the Hall of Fame. So, and I know it's on the West Coast in Las Vegas, but if you're going to put this thing on uh, streaming and expect people to stay up at 1 o'clock in the morning and watch the Hall of Fame show, that's probably going to last what 2 hours. You think?
Uh, they really Hall of Fame is they need to quit doing it after SmackDown. They need to stop that. That is one of the big problems with WrestleMania going tonight. You don't have your Hall of Fame night now. Now it's just an afterthought after Mania. So yeah, probably 2 hours. And I agree with you. I would say the fact that it's on streaming, it really doesn't matter what time it is because you can watch it anytime you want.
Right.
Which is still true. But here's the problem with that: Mania is Saturday night and Sunday night, so nobody has time to watch the Hall of Fame. And then after Mania, do you give a damn about going back and watching the Hall of Fame?
Well,
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a mistake. Yeah,
and even if you were Monday night, te- usually, traditionally, the Raw after WrestleMania is crazy. Uh,
correct.
it's like Bizarro world when Raw hits there. There's a lot of things. It's almost sometimes like a reset. But
Yeah.
it's probably one of the most entertaining Raws of the whole year. Um,
Well, what about why can't they do it Thursday night? Or is NXT doing something Thursday night?
I don't think so. I think NXT's doing their pay per view, whatever you want to call it, PLE, whatever, um, Saturday afternoon at like 1 o'clock.
I can do it
So
Thursday night. I don't get that. And by the way, don't do an NXT premium live event on WrestleMania weekend. Just do have the NXT title defended at WrestleMania, and
I
that's all
agree.
the NXT presence needed, and it would mean more.
I don't think they'll do that, but because they do it, they've been doing that for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I just don't see the point in it. I mean, I get that at one point they were worried about competing with the indie shows that when
Yeah,
ROH was hot and all that, and so WWE wanted, but I really don't have to worry about that anymore. People don't hate the WWE now.
yeah, that's true. I just don't. I don't know what the answer is. Thursday night, like I said, if they want to do something, what is going on this week on Thursday night? Because it's usually something every night of the week on WrestleMania week.
I don't normally remember them
What
doing
could be?
anything on the Thursday.
Because I did see.
Oh, you mean locally there in Vegas, like a fan fest or something?
No, they were saying. Let's see. Hall of Fame 2025 9:30 p.m. Pacific time.
Oh God, so it's 1:30 Eastern.
Well, no, it's 12:30.
No, 12:30 Eastern. Yeah, that's good math, Kyle. Well, shut
Um,
up. You said 1 a.m.
that's what I was told. That's what I was told.
That's
Um,
what you get for believing people.
I know. I'm seeing because it's usually like a TV thing that they do every night. But I mean, it could be anything.
Uh,
Complete list of events. That's NXT full weekend. I mean, they keep saying weekend. I
yeah,
want to see.
there's nothing on Thursday night that I can ever remember for WrestleMania. I don't. I mean, not that I can think of, except when SmackDown used to run Thursday night. Um,
Hold on.
so to me, Thursday night would be perfect for it. But I guess you could make the argument that everybody's not in town yet, as
Well,
far
they
as
could just
fans.
come freaking earlier,
Yeah,
if they
true.
want to see it. Um, no, there's nothing on Thursday night. There can't be put on because this should really be something that's the stage belongs to the Hall of Fame. It's not about okay, we got SmackDown. We got once SmackDown gets over, we'll do this, do that.
Well, I mean,
The Hall
isn't the hay in the barn? Isn't I mean, what more storylines need furthering
That's what I was going to say.
on
Why
SmackDown?
can't
So just take SmackDown, shove it up your ass, and have the Hall of Fame that night
oh,
in
they
place
won't
of
do that.
SmackDown.
They will.
Why?
I agree.
I
I
bet you it would do
agree.
better ratings.
Believe me, I agree. But they won't do that. They want to go home Raw and go home SmackDown.
There's no need for a go home SmackDown. Just do the Hall of Fame. You haze in the barn. Do your Hall of Fame. SmackDown. Do it. USA in place of SmackDown. I bet you it would do better ratings than a typical SmackDown.
I'm sure it would. I'm sure it would. But that's just. I won't be up at 1 o'clock or 12:30 watching to see the Hall of Fame. Should be interesting this year. Of course, one of the, I guess, how do they say the legacy inductees. Of course, you got who has passed away. All these guys have passed away. Um, Kamala, I remember Kamala when I first started watching wrestling. I was like, what the heck is up with this dude? But he was at the time as a kid, he was kind of scary. But then he got just freaking silly when he was smacking his belly around and stuff.
Oh yeah, but at one time, I mean, if you go back, you look at his run in Memphis and Mid South, even before we were exposed to him in Crockett and in WWF. But you go back and look at the stuff he did in Mid South and Memphis, he was over huge.
Well, I mean, he had a good program going with Hogan before
Yeah.
WrestleMania 3. Um, I just don't. And he had I mean, a lot of people don't remember, but he had a feud with Undertaker. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. In the early '90s,
He
yep,
did the casket match with the Undertaker because he was scared to death of the casket.
I do.
Yeah, so Kamala, who is, unfortunately has passed away. I know he had a lot of health issues at the end. They were doing GoFundMe's for him. If you want to see some funny stuff, go on YouTube and look up Kamala promo outtakes with Mean Gene. You'll get a kick out of that.
He do a little blanky blanky.
Next up is Dory Funk Sr. I mean, the patriarch of the legendary Funk family is father of Dory Funk Jr., Terry Funk, the late great Terry Funk.
Yeah.
3-time NWA Western State. Hey, there was a Western States Heavyweight Championship before. Did you know that?
Well, it doesn't surprise me because you had your Alan Murillo promotion. I know what you're referencing as the Heritage title, but
Yep.
so
States
no,
Heritage.
it doesn't surprise me that there was one originally.
So he actually promoted the Western State Sports promotion back in the day, and
Amarillo, yeah.
yeah, but he's going in, and I would have thought I don't know, maybe would have already been in, maybe the Funks would
You
have
would
gone in.
think, yeah.
But last but not least, and this is one that I've been talking about for years, and not only because this guy I talked to a couple of times, and the last conversation I had with him, unfortunately, shortly before he passed, was about the Hall of Fame, and he told me if that he's talking about Vince. I guess Vince was young to him because he was there when McMahon Senior was running the place. But he said if that young McMahon boy doesn't get some things straight this year, me and him are going to have a talk. And that's the Russian Bear, Ivan Koloff. I mean, to do it now is great, but I'm all about giving people their flowers while they're here. I mean, and this guy deserved it. I mean, I'm not just saying, heck of a nice guy. Guy talked to me.
He was the first guy to hold after they dropped the 3 W's when it just became WWF instead of WWF. He was the first guy to hold the title as WWF champion.
and beat Bruno, ended the longest reign
Yes,
in history with Bruno Sammartino. I mean,
exactly.
not only that, but I mean, he had so many regional championships, world championships, US. He every tag belt in the
Yeah,
NWA he held. 5-time
yeah,
NWA World Tag Team Champion, 2-time World Six-Man Tag Champion, 2-time United States Tag Team Champion, 1-time Mid Atlantic Tag Team Champion. Um, not, I mean, if everybody just wanted to base it on him ending Bruno's title reign, to me that's enough because he became a world champion. He ended the longest reign in history. But you
yeah.
look at his accolades after that. I mean, this guy deserved to be in the Hall of Fame a long time ago.
Yeah, no doubt. And just like you, I think if you're a wrestling fan and you grew up in Eastern North Carolina, you had an opportunity to run into Ivan Koloff.
Yeah,
There's a good chance you did. And, I ran into him multiple times, particularly when I was living in Pitt County. Not only, he could go to Walmart, sit up tables and sign autographs for the money to go to Children's Miracle Network and the Children's Hospital in Greenville and all that. And he, he, you run into him, kids Walmart, Greenville Walmart, Williamson Walmart, but I also ran into him a couple times just out in the community where he wasn't signing.
right.
And he was always approachable, always nice. Never, like I'm not signing right now. I'm just here shopping. Every time you
Yeah,
walked up to him, he was always glad to be approached. So from that standpoint, from a personal standpoint, glad to see Ivan going in. Um, and obviously, when you look at what he did in his career from his time in WWF, where he was WWF champion, through his time in the NWA, where he was, a tag team wrestler in the mid to late '80s, with Nikita and with Demolition Smash,
Russia Khrushchev.
Custer Cruiser. Thank you. Um, so, Ivan definitely deserves to be in. It's ridiculous that he wasn't in while he was still alive, but at
Yeah,
least he's going in posthumously. So glad to see that. Glad to see Kamala in. Dory Funk Sr., he deserves to be in, but I have no emotional tie to him. But obviously, due to Ivan
yeah.
and due to Kamala also.
Yeah, I've ran into Ivan at you talk about just up there in the Pitt County area. He was at a Hoskins Walmart with Herb County area, and I went in after I was when I worked over that way, and I got off like 5 o'clock one night, and I walked in Walmart, and I mean I'm just in shock when I walk in and I see Ivan Koloff sitting there at the table, and man, I talked to him for over an hour, and he just talked to me like he had known me all my life,
Yeah, he would always do that. The
telling me
probably
about like stories about Nikita and stuff like that, and I mean, and then to get to see him again at the small, the little regional promotion we were helping with, and to ask him if I could carry his chain in, he said no. He said no, brother. I think I better carry that in for I might lose my reputation if I don't carry it in. So, and my daughter got to meet him. It was just, I mean, such a gracious guy, so nice. Nothing like the Uncle Ivan you saw on TV. So,
I met
um,
Ivan for the first time, Stevie, in 1988 at an NWA spot show in Washington, North Carolina, midnight versus midnight in the main event. But Ivan was on the undercard and he was doing the autograph signing. That was my first time meeting Ivan. Then obviously met him signing autographs a couple different times at different WalMarts. But I think my two favorite Ivan stories, once at the Greenville Walmart pharmacy when I was living in Pitt County. Ran into him. We were at the line picking up prescriptions, and he just the same as he was when he was there to sign autographs. And then once at the Kinston Walmart, I just Jessica saw him. Said Ivan Koloff just walked in, and I walked up to him and said, comrade, and started talking. So you here to sign autographs? And he said, no. He said, I'm just stopping in, doing a little shopping. He said, I came to Kinston. It was during the county fair one year. So I came to Kinston to go to the demolition derby, and it was last night, not today. I had my days mixed up. So I just stopped by Walmart to shop. So
so yeah, glad he finally got in. Now we just need to get these guys in, and if you can see my Midnight Express shirt with
Nice.
Jim Cornette. So we need to get them in next.
Is that vintage? When is that from?
Uh, it's a reprint.
Okay.
It's actually the print of the vintage shirts from like um 89, 90, something like
Okay.
that. But it's not. I didn't buy this back in the day. I'll put it that way.
Gotcha.
So now this year, the first year, they have Immortal Moment, which is a match that is going to start being. I guess they're going to do one a year for this.
Are they all going to be WrestleMania matches?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just going to be WrestleMania matches or if it's just going to be.
If they're
Any
all
match.
going to be WrestleMania matches, I don't have a problem with this one being the first one in.
I've got one that should go in before this.
Right, but you can't have
Sure.
Randy Savage there. He's dead.
Well, you can have Steamboat there.
Right, but he's not going to draw like Austin and Hart.
Well, I know that, but that's that's what this Hall of Fame's all about, is drawing people there. But
And
anyway,
closes. Don't forget you got to have your African American star and your female star, and you gotta have somebody from Hollywood.
well, you got to get Stone Cold to WrestleMania too. He hadn't been there.
A couple of
He
years.
come last year. Yeah, it's been a couple years, so you got to get him there. So this is the way to get him
Something
there.
tells me if he's there and The
Oh,
Rock
you
is
think?
in,
Yeah, I know where you're going. We'll talk about that in a minute too. But the first match is Bret the Hitman Hart versus Stone Cold.
Oh, I thought you were going to first match for WrestleMania. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. This is the inducted match, the WrestleMania 13 match, and they're going to be inducted by CM Punk. Which
It makes sense because I'll tell you why. He's a huge fan of both of those guys, and he's friendly with both of those guys. So I have no problem with that. Eh, when you look at the greatest matches in WrestleMania history, what comes to mind? Obviously, Steamboat Savage. But I think Austin Brett would be right there. When I think of great WrestleMania matches, Austin Brett, Steamboat Savage, Razor versus Shawn in the ladder match.
Yeah.
God, there are obviously others. But those are the ones that immediately come to mind. So Rock Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker.
Either one of those, yeah.
But I have no problem with this going in. It was a fantastic match. You had the double turn. You had Austin turn face, Hart turn heel. You had
you introduced Ken Shamrock to WWE too.
Yeah, exactly. Special guest referee. You had Austin bleeding as he passes out. Which
never submitted. He passed out.
That's right. Yeah, and if if I remember right, the story on that match is Austin wasn't afraid to blade, but if I remember right, Brett bladed him because he wanted all the heat to be on him because he could take it at that point because Vince had a strict no blood policy at that time. And he asked Brett and Austin about it, and they said it was a hard way. But if McMahon didn't believe it, then Brett was going to say I bladed him, and don't blame Austin. So Brett was prepared to take all the heat for that. And but I think when McMahon saw the reaction to that match, it was just a simple question. He didn't want to dig any further.
Nope, he shouldn't have either.
Exactly.
So that's going in. That's the first one in there. All right, getting to our first of the regular inductees.
The living inductees?
No, they're not. This is not a living one. Half of it, I'll put it that way. We got a tag team. We got a group. I guess they're going to do this every year, like a group inductee, which I'll tell you this, not saying they didn't deserve to be in, but when I actually thought this was going to be the year Demolition went in. Demolition signed a WWE deal, and everything was just setting up for him to come in. So it was kind of a surprise that way to see them not go in, see these guys go in. But the tag team group or the group inductee is the Natural Disasters, which was Earthquake and Typhoon. Of course, Earthquake John Tenta is no longer with us. But man, when he came on the scene, he went right into it because that was just they were just lining up monster heels for Hogan back at that time, and he was one of those monster heels. And then you had Typhoon, who was known as Tugboat at first, and of course he turned heel and teamed up with Earthquake as the natural disasters. Um, they won the tag belts a couple of times. I want to say one time. No, it's one time. Okay,
They
so
weren't together
nobody.
that long.
Yeah, but there's nobody. They haven't said who's going to be doing the inducting here. Um, I would guess Jimmy Hart was their manager. So if they're looking for somebody, you know, sentimental stuff, maybe Jimmy Hart will do it if he's on good terms with WWE right now.
He is. He is. They're still promoting the real American beer.
Um, my question is, does Typhoon go in as the Shockmaster as well?
No, I don't. I don't think
Does
they're
he
going to
bring
get.
out does he bring out the bedazzled stormtrooper helmet?
Hey, you know what? I guess it depends. If he wants to make it more about his tag team with Earthquake and be more sentimental about it towards John. He can do both. He can bring out the Stormtrooper helmet and still be sentimental towards Tens. I'm going to bet you he does. I'm going to bet you he does because he ain't going to get in any other way. This will not be a double inductee. Earthquake,
No,
yes. John or not John Tenta, but God, I can't think of his real name right now.
Fred Ottman.
Fred Ottman. No, no, he will not be going in any other time.
Yeah, I don't think the Shockmaster's going in
Well, could
unless
Cody introduce him? That's Cody's uncle.
that's what I was getting ready to say. No, that he is actually Dusty Rhodes' brother-in-law. Um,
Correct.
so that would be interesting to see Cody do that. That would be probably the thing to do. But yeah, I think he should just focus mostly on talking about his late great partner Earthquake and just leave
You can do
the
both. You can show the helmet, make a joke, and then do most of your speech focusing on John Tenta and their time together.
well. Hopefully, when he walks out, they don't put any two by fours in there for him to trip over or anything like that. So
That would be
anyway,
hysterical if he trips.
oh my God, I don't think he's not. Yeah, he's been having some health problems, so I don't think we're going to see him do a spot or drop right there. Um, so let's get to the. I guess this is the main three here, and I'm going to say this: nepotism, right here. Uh, Michelle McCool goes in the Hall of Fame this year. Of course,
Yeah, Michelle McCool has about as much business going to WWE Hall of Fame as I do.
exactly. I mean, yeah, two-time women's champion, two-time Divas champion, two-time
Well,
Slammy
when you
Award.
put it that way,
But Kyle, here's the thing though. Do you consider her? Do you put her up there with like Lita? Do you put her up there with like Becky Lynch? Do you put her up there with like Trish Stratus or
I
the
don't put
ones
her up
like
there with
that?
Misty Blue.
Oh my God! What about Linda Dallas?
Maybe.
I mean, I don't. I just don't see
no.
her. This is not a. Oh, I mean, she's nowhere near China. I mean, nowhere
No,
near
she's in
that.
Las Vegas.
Oh, I would say like
No,
Robert
she does
Williams.
not
Say,
deserve to be in.
sure,
She does not. It's like a seal. No, she does not deserve to be in. No, no.
no.
I don't think
And
anybody would, except maybe Taker. I don't think anybody else would defend it.
yeah, you know why she's going in. She's getting inducted by the Undertaker, her husband. She is.
Hey, ask Mallory if what's her name deserves to be in.
What's her name? Oh, you talking
Mallory's sister. Yeah.
about Kate? Of course she'll say that because she's like a sister to her.
Yeah, exactly.
And that would be just like the Undertaker wanted his wife put in. So
Exactly.
that's yeah, I mean, we know that's the main reason she's going in, and they did the whole because I was actually shocked when they announced it to her, and I
In,
were
in,
they
o- in other
ESPN?
Michelle McCool, news, next season on whatever the hell that show is they're doing on A&E where they're training wrestlers.
Oh yeah,
She's going to be replacing Mickey James, because who would you rather have train a woman wrestler, her or Mickey James? Although Mickey was getting on some of the girls about showing too much of their ass, on the show
We
the other
really
day.
need
So
to talk about
I
that,
don't know.
Mickey.
Do what?
Do we really need
Didn't
to talk
Mickey
about
James do a friggin' porno?
it? She did. She did.
Yeah, quite a bit of a hypocrite there.
Yeah, that's really, you don't want to bring that back up with her. So she don't need to. I found that hard to believe that she said that to somebody. But anyway, moving on, and this is one that should have been in for a while too. I was happy to see him go in. Um, the total package, Lex Luger. Uh, I mean, he's a two-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, two-time TV champion, five-time and longest reigning U.S. Heavyweight Champion, three-time WCW World Tag Team Champion, won the Royal Rumble co-winner with Bret Hart, and probably if he'd have kept his mouth shut, depending on who you talk to, he may have been WWF World Champion. But I just think he talked to the wrong person or something like that. Is what the story goes, if you believe that. But he had his bad times. Struggled
Stevie,
with.
you are on my end. Your audio is horrible. You're freezing up a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but you're still froze. I can hear you fine.
Hold on a second.
All right.
Because I'm not having any. I'm not showing anything here. So
It could be my end. I don't know if anybody else is commenting on it or not. I had this happen with Dave, and everybody was hearing and seeing him fine. And I was the only one having issues seeing him and hearing him.
are you on HughesNet?
No, I let Christian Bateman use his own HughesNet tonight.
I'm looking at our live feed right now, and I'm pretty. I'm not froze. Am I still froze on
uh,
your end?
no, not right now.
Okay.
You're good right now. So
So
maybe it's
total package. I mean, he had his struggles. We all know about his drug problems with pills, and we all know about the tragic story with him and Miss Elizabeth. But Luger uh, has cleaned his life up, born again Christian. Of course, got struck down with a stroke of the spinal cord? Is that what they called it?
yeah, it happened on a plane. He was fine when he got on the plane. When he got off, he could not walk anymore.
Yeah, and of course, he is. You've seen here recently, the DDP is trying to help him be able to walk. Where he's at, he's
Well, he
actually,
has been able to walk, but he's trying to get him more mobile.
yeah, trying to get him to be able to be more mobile and be able to walk out on the stage uh, for the Hall of Fame thing, which that would be incredible to see that. But man, you think about
Now,
this
what
guy.
would be incredible is if he got him where he could put like somebody in the torture rack again. That's that.
Then we
Then
talk
then
about
DDP's done something.
then we talk about that move, how that move when he was doing it was kind of.
A lot of people like the torture rack. I thought the torture rack was stupid.
I mean, in the day, man, when I first saw Luger, I mean, I'd seen him in magazines from I'd in Florida, but when I saw him come to WCW that first time, it was on TBS, and he put the torture rack on that guy. I was like, God knows he's about to break his back. But then you watch it later on in the years, and he's just got him up there on his shoulders bouncing up and down. I mean,
Exactly.
it's not really. I'm like, this doesn't look as intimidating as it used to look. But anyway, but yeah, definitely deserved to go in. The only thing I hated is they couldn't work out a deal with AEW to get Sting to do the to be the one to induct him into the Hall of Fame. I thought that would be fitting, but apparently no deal was struck between
Man,
AEW and WWE.
they're not getting along. I mean, at all. Did you see
No.
Nick Khan's comments today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a
All the
bunch
respect
of
to the dad that funds the money that owns the Jaguars.
and said all the AEW wrestlers just wait till their contract runs out to come to WWE.
It's true though.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
I
but
realized
I'll
today.
I'll give me MJF credit if he's waiting for that. He's talking a lot of trash to Khan. He he's constantly talking trash to Khan.
I think he'll be gone. I think if he's got any sense, he will be. Whether he's talking trash to him in gimmick or not.
Right.
Quick thought on Tony Khan, and we'll get back to the package and the Hall of Fame. But I noticed today with Tony's big curly hair on top of his goofy face, what he looks like. He reminds me of an alpaca. Can you picture what I'm talking about?
Yes, yes. Oh my lord.
Tony the alpaca Khan.
Shaka Khan. Uh, so on that note, but yeah, I can totally see what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, glad to see Luger getting in finally. And I'm sure Sting will be there. He just won't be on camera. Like
Yep.
Luger was there at Sting's, but he was not on camera. Um, so next up, and of course will be the last one of the night. I'm sure. Um, Triple H goes in. He's now a two-time inductee. He's in there, or as a member of D-Generation X. 9-time WWF, WWE World Heavyweight Champion, 5-time, and he was the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion, 5-time Intercontinental Champion, 2-time European Champion. Only one time he won the championship. Oh, WWE Tag Team Champion, 2-time. Why is it different?
Because you had the World Tag Team title and WWE Tag Team title.
Well, who? Well, he won one. I know he won one with Michaels. He
Yeah.
won one with Stone Cold.
You don't remember that?
Did he win one with Hogan? No, that was Edge.
Yeah, that was it. I do remember that.
2-time WWF World Tag Team Champion, 1997 King of the Ring winner, 2-time Royal Rumble match winner. I mean, this has been coming for a while.
Yeah. I mean, and he runs the company now for as far as the booking side,
Yeah,
and married to Stephanie, and DX was one of the most over groups during one of the most over eras in wrestling. The early 2000s, he dominated Monday Night Raw to the point where people were sick of him.
yeah.
So yeah, no, Triple H, nobody questions does he deserve to be in. He's in as a member of DX, but he deserves to be in as a single. Although these multiple inductees things are getting stupid to me. But in this case, yeah, Triple H definitely deserves to be in as a single.
Is this going to be Brett's third time in?
You would think because he's
If
obviously
he,
in for a
if,
singles career, and unless they didn't put in the Hart Foundation's got to be in.
I would think I mean, I'm going to look right now, but I'm wondering if what's up, Steve Hill? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Steve? How you doing?
You know Steve Hill? He's from up around
I,
your way, up there around Greenville area. Big ECU fan
I
too.
know him from being a Pirate fan. I don't know him,
All right.
really personally, but we're friends on Facebook, and he watches the pot, the Sports Objectives, and so glad to see him watching. Does he normally watch on the fly in the final score?
He went to school with me for a while, and I actually coached him in football for a year.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, so I know he remembers that. Let's see, Bret Hart, Hall of Fame. Yep,
Yeah,
he's the
so his
first.
third time.
He'll be the first one to be inducted 3 times. So that should be
Well, he
interesting.
is the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever
That's
will be.
fair, will be. I don't think I'm sitting here thinking about like Triple H. Unless they decide to put Evolution in, which I don't see that happen.
God.
Um,
Though, you know what? You look at it, you got Triple H, Ric Flair, Randy Orton, Batista. Does it deserve to be in?
I just don't see that faction as something as one of those factions. Like, I mean, you got like the Horsemen, like DX, like the
Sure.
Dangerous Alliance. I don't see that unless he gets in for a match. I guess that's possible.
Yeah.
But and like Shawn Michaels, I mean, I don't see the Rockers getting in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, are you kidding me? They're going to put in the natural disasters and not the Rockers?
Well, I was trying to be nice earlier. I just really didn't see the natural disasters going in either.
If they're going to put the F in natural disasters in, they got to put in the Rockers. I mean, the Rockers were over like
Well, I'm going to tell you this: if Coco Beware is in there, then mostly anybody should be in there.
Well, all right. Now, two things about Coco. One, they have to have
Uh,
their African American quota. Two, and that's not being racist. Look, if anybody thinks that's being racist, it's not. It's being real.
that's not.
Two, Coco, when he was Coco Ware before they added the B, he was huge in Memphis, and he was good.
He was
He
with the
was,
PYTs, boy.
yes, right. Him and
Pretty
Bobby Eaton
young
were a tag
thing.
team for a while too. So he was. I don't have a problem with the Birdman being in.
Yeah, I mean, based on his WWE stuff and compared to some of the other ones that should be in there, he he shouldn't be in there over them. Steve Hill is asking, is the Immortal Award considered an induction? Yeah, they're counting that as an induction. So
Who got
uh,
that?
that's that's
Is that the
the
match?
that's the match. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because they're counting that because Bret Hart is going to be the first 3 time.
Have they replaced a Warrior Award with anything?
I haven't seen the Warrior Award at least not publicized in a while.
It doesn't
Uh,
exist anymore. They should change it. I think they got tired of dealing with Linda Warrior or whatever her name was.
Probably so.
Oh, I heard that was the case. How about name it the
What?
Connor the Crusher Award?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The Conor the Crusher Award. I wouldn't think you would get rid of that.
I think they had made them into one, hadn't they?
Hold on. Steve Hill. Steve Hill. Michelle McCool got in on her merits, and he's got the laughing emoji up there. Yeah,
Yeah, she got in from marrying the Undertaker.
from exactly
Her
Conor the
marriage.
Crusher for being a Callaway. Um, let's see. He received the award
Yeah,
named after Resurrection.
Warrior. Yeah, he received the Connor the Crusher Award, and then when he passed away, I think they renamed it the Warrior Award. Or is it two separate awards? I don't know.
I don't know.
Skip it.
Yeah, let's just move on. So that I mean, not the most overwhelming Hall of Fame that I've ever
which
seen.
which is probably why you saw the idea to put it in the match and do Stone Cold and Austin.
Well, I think that was just to get Austin to WrestleMania, but that's just
Well,
me. I,
I think he was probably going to be there anyway.
I think the Luger. I like the Luger. That's the one I like the most out of all of these. I mean, no doubt Triple H, and I mean Ivan. I don't know how much they'll do about Ivan on there, but
They normally with the posthumous, it's very little.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But just happy to see him finally get recognized, and he's in there. So they can't take that away from him anymore. Um, so let's get to the matches. So
All right.
2 nights.
Please go to one night.
You know, yeah, Steve's talking about just a mention for Koloff, unfortunately. Yeah, exactly. But I'll take it, bud. I'll take the fact that he's in there now. Yeah. Can you imagine? I mean, we talked about it as a kid too, how much we would have ate this up though.
On Easter weekend at that. I never
Oh
remember
gosh,
WrestleMania being on Easter before.
I don't either.
Um, so that's interesting. It's normally not this late. I don't like it being 2 nights. As a kid, I'd have probably loved it. But to me, WrestleMania used to be called the Showcase of the Immortals. Okay, so everybody don't need a match at WrestleMania. Let's have one featuring the biggest stars, and that's it.
They got so many freaking ones in there now that it.
Well, let's
Yeah.
go over to car. Let's start with Saturday night.
All right, leading off. Okay, This is we agree on this. Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble was a mistake. And what is Jey Uso calling himself right now?
Uh, the Yeet Magnet? I don't know.
No, he's got a nickname now.
I
He's
have no
had it
idea,
for a
brother.
while. Main event Jey Uso.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So guess what? The first match of the first night is
Is
World
it? Are you sure
Heavyweight.
that? Do you have the match order for sure?
I think this is the match order. I'm almost positive, but I may
I
be
saw
wrong.
it earlier, and they had that match. They had it listed next to last when I saw it on
Okay,
Wikipedia.
well maybe this is on CBS Sports. So let's yeah, main event Jey Uso not in main event. So you know you need to drop that before you come out there on WrestleMania night because don't say I'm main event Jey Uso. So
They need to
Gunther,
have it. Look, they need to have it next to the last match and call it a co-main event. But anyway, go ahead.
they're not going to do that. This Gunther versus Jey Uso. Yeah,
I hate
Zeus.
Jey Uso.
This is the recap or synopsis for this match here from
The
CBS Sports.
what?
Synopsis, whatever.
Synopsis.
Philanthropist.
Philanthropist. I can say that easily. Philanthropist.
Oh, you said we need to put you on live so you can say all this
Hey,
stuff.
baby. When I'm under pressure, I go.
Yeah, when your back's to the wall. All right.
Exactly. You come out swinging,
Uso surprised everyone by winning the Men's Royal Rumble.
including himself.
Buford predicted he would overcome a stacked field that featured Cena, CM Punk, and Roman Reigns. He is the underdog heading into WrestleMania, having never beaten Gunther. For Uso, it's a chance to prove himself. For Gunther, it's a makeup for last year's shortcoming against underdog Sami Zayn. You know what? I think they're going to let Uso win this match.
Boy, I hope not. If he doesn't, as Cornette would say, he's flattered in 4 o'clock. So he pretty much has to. If not, he's done. You can't do anything else
Yeah,
with him.
where do you go from here
Uh,
after that?
so you gotta.
Unless he
I
gets
cannot stand. I don't get it. I don't get why he's over. I don't get why people like saying yeet. I think his
yeet.
promos. I think his promos. People. I hear people say he's good on the mic. Bullshit. His promos are horrible.
Yeah,
Hey, let me tell you, Oos. I mean,
ah, look,
I mean, he just he talks louder as he goes on. Like every time somebody says yeet, he talks rhythmically. It's like ooh, I don't know what it is. It's like Samoan Evonics. I
he's not
cannot stand him talk. I can't stand him. I cannot stand. I hope Gunther. If it was a shoot, I wish Gunther would destroy him.
he's not feeling very oozy, but
Now, I don't want to feel Zusi.
you know what? The ideal the ideal uh entrance for this match was, and a lot of people won't be familiar with this unless you watch Saturday Night Live. The Yeet Skirt guys from Saturday Night Live. If you haven't seen that, you need to look that up on YouTube. You'll know what I'm talking about. But I think Pete Davidson was one of them. Anyway, Steve Hill is saying they'll put Jay over here, and he's saying it's called a promo kid. If you're going to be the big dog, you have to learn to do it. I think. Uh,
Yeah, he needs to
Cena,
learn.
I think
But
Cena, Cena
some people say he's good at it.
I don't see
I
it either.
I I think this will probably go over. Because again, what do you do with him if you don't? Although I wouldn't take the title. This ain't what I would have done. And to me, if they want to elevate somebody, I told you during the Royal Rumble, before we even knew there was going to be a surprise winner, I said they should have Braun Breaker destroy everybody in this damn match and put him over and have him wrestle Gunther. And I just got the person wrong. But just picture if this was Braun Breaker, I'd be fired up for this.
Oh yeah, this would be exciting right here if that was the case. But um, yeah, I just don't. Yeah, only way that he could go back to anything after that it was to rescue his brother from whatever the heck they're doing with him right now, and they could they could put them. Jimmy is not doing anything right now except getting beat up by Gunther. Um, Steve, I figured that's where you were going after that last comment. Maybe he needs a verbal beatdown from Cena. It worked for Roman. Yep. The, after Roman did the suffering succotash comment in one of his promos. That
Well,
and,
I don't blame Roman.
well, I
That's
mean,
what he was
Cena's
sure
called a
to do.
lot. Cena's called a lot of people. I remember when he called The Rock out saying, "I don't need to write my promo notes on my
Yeah.
arm."
But here's the thing: Roman had somewhere else he could go in terms of being a better heel. He just needed to be allowed to do that. That's what this is the best Jey Uso can do. This is
Yeah,
it. Him talking louder and using this weird street slang and these oos and yeets and feeling oosy and what's up oos and just shit that doesn't make any kind of logical sense to anybody that speaks any sort of English. Yet somehow it's over. I don't get it. Whatever. I hope Gunther wins, but I think we're all both in agreement, and Steve Hill will say all three of us are in agreement that
yeah.
Jay's going to go over.
And Steve Hill saying some people are better as a tag team. So
Yeah,
yes.
no doubt.
Um. So next match, El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio. He's
Yeah,
definitely a
Ray's
new
going to go
luchador
over and unmask him.
who is definitely not Chad Gable. Whatever.
No, it's not Chad Gable. It's Kurt Angle.
That would be fun. Well, if this was a baby face doing this, you know what they would do, right? That
Uh,
if he was a baby face, they'd have in the match, they'd have like Mysterio was a heel, he'd unmask him and it wouldn't be him. And he would be over there to the side in the crowd waving at, kind of
yeah,
like the old yellow dog thing.
with
Uh,
Pillman. Yeah,
and Tom Zink was the yellow dog that
yeah.
night after he after he went for a cross body block with nobody there. Anyway. um, yeah, I got Mysterio winning this one.
Yeah, next.
Yeah,
Nobody cares about a match.
yeah, yeah. This is just one of those matches. World Tag Team Championships: the War Raiders versus the New Day.
Who
Um,
cares?
New Day heels for first time in a while. The only
Yeah,
way,
I don't. Who the hell are the War? Is that the old
gosh, what were they called before?
Viking Raiders?
Viking Raiders. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
I knew that would go over.
Yeah, the only way I don't see the New Day going over um, is if Big E makes an appearance and costs them the match. You know, I could totally see
Yeah,
that happen.
yeah.
So, yeah, I'll just say New Day wins. Uh, Jade Cargill versus Naomi.
Oh my God! Again, who cares?
Oh, evidently everybody on
I'll
Twitter
say
does.
Jade. I'll say Jade. If you're gonna have Jade in a WrestleMania match, it would be her first WrestleMania match. It would be pretty stupid to have her lose. So I say Jade. Jade goes
Yeah,
over Naomi.
I think so too. I think Naomi puts her over. I don't know if this leads to something down the road. Even I don't know if you end this here or if you uh, go down the road with some more to this, but I'm not really. This may be a pee break for me. Um, and Steve says, "Big yawn." And if Jay doesn't go over here, she's done.
Yeah,
So set up, set up for Bianca match. That could be so, but we'll see. Um, Next up, United States Championship match: LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu.
that's gonna be good. That might be the surprise best match of night one. Or well, maybe not the best match, but you got two guys that can work. I love LA Knight. I loved him
Yeah.
as Eli Drake in TNA. I loved him as Eli Drake in NWA. I think he's great. I wish, you know, I wish I could say that I thought that Eli or that LA Knight was going to win, but there's no way you put Jacob Fatu in his first title match at WrestleMania and don't have him go over LA Knight. In fact, wouldn't be surprised if they have him squash LA Knight here. I hope not because I love LA Knight, but yeah, no way Fatu doesn't go over.
I tell you what, I disagree with you in a way. Where is Solo Sikoa on this card?
Okay. See, I haven't been keeping up with the storylines as in depth. So are they doing? Or
There,
so
there's
Solo and
kind of,
Jacob got beef?
I mean, there's kind of back. You can tell it's coming. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It's
Well, if
not
you're talking
really
about something like that, then yes, I could.
Solo. I
If it's
would
going to be an angle, but if it's going to be an angle, then yes, I could see that.
because I don't think the bloodline story has run its course. Um,
Or
but
has
yeah,
it?
the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu, definitely talented guy, and probably it won't hurt. I don't think it would hurt LA Knight to lose this match. I don't know about squashing him, but to lose it, I don't think it would hurt him as far as fan base or anything like that goes. But WWE should have really they dropped the ball with putting a belt on him. They should
About
have
two
put a
years
belt on
ago.
him. Yes, they should have
Yeah.
put a belt on him before now, and now it's just he's lost some of that push, some of that heat from not heat, but the
Momentum.
crap momentum. Yes, that's what word I'm looking for. Philanthropist as well. But anyway,
I hear he's a heck of a philanthropist. God
I,
dang it!
there we
I,
go. I got him.
I went to the
Okay.
well one too many times. Philanthropist.
So Steve Hill is saying Solo is going to cost Cody the title. We'll see about that. I don't know. We'll see. Um, Next match, the WWE Worship Tiffany Stratton, the champion, defends against Charlotte Flair. So I'm like you, Kyle. Me and you have talked about this. No real big momentum for this match until they went, and I'm doing air quotes
Went
right
off
now, off
script. Yeah.
script, talking about Charlotte's marriage and uh, Tiffany's boyfriend Kaiser or Hermie being in Charlotte's DMs. So they're still sticking to that story that there's a lot of, and they're saying there's a lot of heat backstage on Charlotte right now. But what do you do here? I don't
What
know.
I do, I lean into Charlotte, but can Charlotte handle being a heel and keep her cool and getting booed the way she is? Because she got rattled the other week.
Yeah,
If you can keep Charlotte to not get rattled, put the title on her, make her the most arrogant, obnoxious female heel, and then get somebody, whether it's Tiffany trying to win the title back or somebody else, build somebody else up to take the title off her because she's going to be so hated.
yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Tiffany win this match.
It's
What
not
do
what
you
I do.
think? Huh?
It's not what I would do, but I wouldn't be surprised either.
Well, let me tell you this. Where's Becky Lynch?
I seen something on Facebook the other day, and it may have been a bullcrap post saying she was done with wrestling.
No, she's not done. Believe me, she's not done. So could Becky come out here and cost Charlotte the match, or either if Charlotte does win the match, would Becky come out? Because they've been crossed the logs a few times over the past few years, and Becky has made the comments we really don't like each other. So that if Charlotte wins, I could see Becky costing her the match, and I'm saying a lot of people
I
could
put the
cost people the
title on
match.
Charlotte, have Charlotte come out, cut this obnoxious promo on Raw the next night about how she is the queen of wrestling and everybody needs to bow down and kiss the feet of the queen and they can boo her all they want. But she is the genuine article, the biggest star in all of women's wrestling, just being obnoxious as she can be. And then Becky Lynch's music hits the next night.
Right.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, because that Raw is kind of the bizarre world of Raw.
Yeah.
Um, and then the main event for the first night, triple threat match: Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Excuse me.
Seth
Uh,
Franklin Rollins.
so Steve said that uh, Becky is holding Seth's balls, and he got the Hermie thing because Kaiser wants to be a dentist. He put that up there. So um,
A
CM,
dentist.
CM Punk with Paul Heyman in his corner. but I don't think Paul
Yeah, I don't
Heyman
know where they're going
was.
to go with this. I don't know where they're going to go with this.
I
I was
got a
thinking about this
feeling,
today.
dude, Paul Heyman ends up, Seth Rollins ends up being a Paul Heyman guy after this match is over with.
So you think he turns on them both and Seth goes with Heyman?
I think so. I would not be
I,
surprised to see
I
it.
wouldn't be surprised with any of this. I wouldn't be surprised to see, Heyman go with Punk. I wouldn't be surprised to see Heyman go with Roman. I wouldn't be surprised to see Heyman go with Seth. I wouldn't be, I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go with this match, which is a good thing. That's good that I'm a little clueless here on what direction they're going to go. I know what I want to see. I want to see Punk win because I'm a Punk fan. Um, but this could go any of the three ways, and I think any of the three ways it could work. Um, how much is Roman going to be around?
That's
If you and I heard Punk maybe taking some time off after Mania.
well,
So
Steve Hill's making a good point, but I don't think this is going to happen. Does Brock's music hit? I hope not. I really hope not because
I love this. I don't have any problem with Brock. But
it's
I don't
just
think you need to
old.
add anybody else into this.
No, you don't. I just don't want to see the same old Brock come back, Heyman with him, Brock dominate everybody again like he did before. And if you're going to do that, you know, have it have it be a little more where Brock is not dominating everybody like he was. It may be old, but it makes money, is what Steve said. Well, but I don't want a
Well,
part
it did
timer.
make money. Will it steal?
But
Will
you
it
got
steal? Will the fans react to him?
exactly. You
Because
also
he
got
was
a
involved with the which the sex scandal. I think is
legal
a lot of.
issue. The legal
I
issues.
think a lot of that's bull. I think a lot of that's bull.
Yeah,
But how are the fans going to react?
exactly. So
I don't
I'm
think you're going to see it. I don't think you're going to see Lesnar. But the question is, who do you think is going to go over as heel? And
I
I
think
don't
it's
know how much Roman's going to be around.
I
I
think
think if Roman's going to be around, you'll see. We got some lag or something here.
okay. Go ahead.
I think if Roman's going to be around, Roman goes over. If Roman ain't going to be around, uh, man, I don't know. I'm torn on this one. I'll go with Punk just because that's who I want to win.
The favor deal is what's getting me. I mean, because now he owes Rollins says now you owe me a favor, um, to Heyman.
Right.
So I don't know. It just seems like it's setting it up
And
for.
is that Heyman's out? He doesn't help Punk. He doesn't help Roman. He helps Rollins. He doesn't go with Rollins, but he says I couldn't. I could not choose between the two of you, my tribal chief and my best friend. So
Yeah.
I chose neither of you.
Yep. I agree. I really think that's going to happen, but I may be wrong there. So we'll see. All right. So night two, and we talked a little bit about what do you do with Randy Orton. And one of the things they talk about here, Nick Aldis is that's talked about him coming out of retirement for a match. But Solo Sikoa started poking around Randy Orton's business. They say so that could be something we see. But they're waiting a long time.
Well, when did that happen? When did Solo start poking around?
Well, in the last week or so, that's happened.
Okay, so they would build that Friday night. Whatever's going to happen with Randy's going to happen Friday night.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see about the Randy Orton. We don't really know who he's going to fight. So, um, but the first match, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul.
Logan Paul will go over. I wish AJ would go over, but AJ needs a big win. They haven't done anything with AJ at Coon's age. I'd like to see AJ go over. I think AJ needs it, but I don't see it happening. Logan Paul with the win.
You think at this point in his career, uh, him beating Logan Paul is going to hurt Paul? Or I mean, and I know AJ's probably. I know he's talking about he's getting close to the end, but if he puts over Paul here, and say what you want to about Paul, he's irritating, and I can't stand him. But he always comes up with one big spot in every match he's done, and to not be
He's
at
Shane
first,
McMahon.
yeah, to not be a full time wrestler. He has done pretty good as far as he surprised me. Excuse me.
He can suck a wiener. I can't stand him.
You hear that, bud? Logan Paul, he's coming on the show. So
Yeah, well, if you get Logan Paul on, that'd be a good get. But I think Logan will go over. I don't like I say. To me, AJ, it's been too long since he's won a big match, but unfortunately, I don't think he'll win another one.
okay. So then we got a women's tag team championship: Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bailey and Lyra Valkyria, whatever her name is.
At least I'll get to see Liv Morgan. That's the one good
That's
thing
what
I
a
can say
lot of
about this
people are
match.
saying, dude. That's what a lot of people are saying. Um,
Yeah,
a lot of talk about Bailey might turn heel again.
they don't need to do that.
She's going to turn into the Big Show as far as how many times she turns heel and babyface. So,
Hope she don't shave her head.
oh God, please don't.
Who
I
cares?
like.
I don't know. Call your winner. Who cares? I don't care.
I'm going. I don't think Bailey
The only thing I'm going for in this match is a wardrobe malfunction for Liv Morgan.
Anyway, I think Liv and Raquel retain here. Then we got Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre.
You know,
Drew, I think Drew needs to win this match.
he does, and I love Drew. And Damian Priest, it'd been the right time for Damian. Had Punk not came back around, had Rome. Everybody got over, and all these stars were created at the wrong time for Damian Priest. In a different era, Damian Priest could have been over bigger than he is. Damian Priest maybe should go to AEW. They'd ruin him there. But uh, yeah, I think you got to have Drew win this match. I think
Yeah.
Drew's been on the big stage and he's a huge star. But you can say Damian needs to win it too. Both these guys need to win. Um, but I think Drew goes over. I think Drew's got the bigger upside.
Yeah, I think Drew needs to win this match a little bit more than Damian does, because Drew's just going back to what WrestleMania last year, wasn't that when he lost the Damian actually cashed in and got the belt from Drew after he won it within however many seconds after he won it because of CM Punk.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, so yeah, I'd be willing to bet Drew wins this. Yes.
Yeah. So then we got the 4-way battle for the Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker, the champion, versus Penta versus Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Dude, I hate to say this, but you might see Dominic Mysterio walk out with the Intercontinental Championship.
Well, and I'll tell you, if you're gonna do it, then this is the way to do it because Braun doesn't have to get pinned.
Exactly.
So if you're gonna do it that way, and then have Braun go beat Jey Uso in about 30 seconds for the world title on Raw the next night. and,
This is what
that'll work.
The way it's going to happen. Dominic's going to pin Finn Balor. Watch, because Finn Balor's been giving him a lot of
You
crap.
cut out on my end. Say it again.
Dominic's going to pin Finn Balor.
Yeah, I can see that. I think, to me, if you're doing a 4-way here, with having a 3-way the night before, I think the reason you're doing it is to take the title off Braun without pinning Braun. Yeah. So I'm with you. I think you definitely could see Mysterio as the IC champion. It makes sense from the standpoint of if you're doing a multi-man match to take the title off Breaker because again you don't have to put his shoulders to the mat.
Yep, and I think that's just, and I mean, it just sets up Braun to do something bigger. Which exactly. I said that before when he lost the NXT title. I said that before, and then it took them way too long to put something on him. Uh,
Yeah.
but anyway, I think this will be the end of the Judgment Day. I think that's done after this. Then we got the Women's World Championship, Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley.
Too many multi-man matches in this case, a
It is.
multi-woman
It's really
match.
a lot.
What are they? AEW. Uh, who is it again? Bianca, Io, and who?
Rhea Ripley.
I hope Rhea wins. I haven't followed the storyline enough to speak on this intelligently, but I'm going to go with Rhea because that's who I want to win.
Ooh. Oh well, yeah, I'm gonna go with Ripley. I just don't think Sky's gonna win it. Nobody, but if you listen to them here lately, everybody's talking about Belair and Ripley. It just sets up for Io Sky to win. You know,
Yeah.
everybody be shocked, but I'm gonna go with Ripley here too. I would like to see that. So the main event: Cody Rhodes defends the undisputed championship against John Cena, a heel John Cena, not Thugonomics guy either. Um, whew. So me and you actually were on the phone that night when Cena turned heel,
We were.
which was because I was on the way back from the wrestling match. Remember?
Yeah, I was saying we were. I wasn't questioning.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said we were.
No, it's like we were.
But so I'm sure. I mean, Cena has to come out here with The Rock. The Rock would have to be accompanying him to the ring.
If not, it's
Or
pretty idiotic that he's
it's
been
pretty
involved.
stupid if it wouldn't be. I
Yeah.
mean, so and me and you talked, and you were hinting around earlier about uh, Stone Cold being in Las Vegas for WrestleMania, and you know this may be one of the reasons why they want him there to kind of counteract The Rock in this match. We see Stone Cold come out.
To me, the person to counteract The Rock is Triple H, but I don't think Triple H can do anything physical because of his heart.
Yeah.
So the next best thing is obviously The Rock's biggest nemesis, Stone Cold. Um, so yeah, you have Stone Cold counter out The Rock. Um, I think you'll see that happen. Well, let me put it like this. I guess you can see it happen even if Cody doesn't go over. First, who do you think is going to go over?
I think Cena goes over.
You know, initially you would think it almost have to be that way, but
Where and I heard this on another podcast today, but I mean it's what a lot of people are thinking. If if Cody beats Cena,
where do you go with the storyline?
where does it go from there? I mean, there's
I mean,
nothing
do you
left.
immediately? But do you turn Cena back face already? Does
No.
does, does Cena then go get the boo boo face and go? I sold my soul to The Rock. I can't believe I did this. It's probably soon. So yeah, I
I
think
think
you got to have Cena win. Yeah, I think you got to have Cena win. But for some reason, in the back of my mind, I keep thinking Cody's going to win. But I think you're right. It's too soon to turn Cena back face.
yeah.
So I think you got to
Way
have
too
Cena
soon.
win.
I think Cena wins.
To me, that would
I
be
don't-
the equivalent. To me, that would be the equivalent of Sergeant Slaughter wanting his country back.
Yeah, that's true.
You remember that?
I remember it. I remember it very well.
Way too soon. Way too soon.
Yeah, but I just think Cena wins, and Cody chases after Cena. I mean, you know yourself. I always wondered back in the day because you had some of like with Flair. Flair would drop the belt for like maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, and get it right back because you always
Yeah.
want the babyface chasing the heel. It's more. I mean, people are more into it, and it's true. Um, People are more into it when baby faces are chasing the heel. But uh, I think it's got to be this way. I can't see what they would do after this if Cody would retain. Who I mean, where do you go from there? Where do you go with Cena after that?
Well, what you would have to do is Cena would have to go away and then come back and beg for forgiveness or come back to save somebody. You couldn't have him turn face immediately. He'd have to go away till SummerSlam and then come back and save somebody or something. Something that would make him a clear baby face is
Yeah.
the only thing you could do. I think that would be a waste of a heel turn. I think you got to put the title on Cena and, and then have, like you said, Cody chase him. Although he says if he wins the title, he's going home and retiring as WWE champion.
Uh, I don't see that happening. I don't see him
No,
going
I
there.
don't either. But how do you? What's he going to do? Ha ha! I was lying to you all. You're going to have to suffer me as the heel world champion. I mean,
That's
what do
probably good.
you know?
I mean, and then I mean, you can't, like you said, a that would be a total waste of one of the biggest heel turns in the history and of wrestling. Um,
Yeah,
and that will be a later episode on heel turns with us as well. But yeah, I just got a feeling that the Cody's title reign ends a year or a year after from one WrestleMania to the other. Um, and Cena, what that would break the record, right?
it would. Yeah,
The Flair won't be on camera, but Flair is actually going to be in Vegas that this weekend. So um, that might be interesting too. But I don't think Flair would come. Flair's not going. He's got a contract with AEW, so I know he won't be able to come out.
yeah. Woo energy.
But I don't think Flair could make it down the ring to ringside as long as that WrestleMania rep is. He'd
I
he'd
had
have
the
to be.
WrestleMania 3 cart.
He'd have well either that or he had to be pulling a Steve Kerner's Doink 2 hiding on the ring for 6 hours.
I
But
don't think he could do that either.
no, I don't think he could do that either. But anyway, so that's it. I mean, not the not the best lineup of WrestleMania matches that I've ever seen.
Could it be? Could be if it was one night. You cut out half the matches.
Yeah, but I don't. There's a lot of as somebody that listens to music and there's a lot of filler in these 2 nights. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
There's some hits, but there's a lot of filler. So anyway, before we get out of here, Kyle, any last thoughts on WrestleMania weekend for you?
No, looking forward to watching it. It's always fun to watch WrestleMania. I wish it was one night versus two. Looking forward to Cody and Cena. Looking forward to the triple threat match with Punk, Rollins, and Roman. Not too much else. LA Knight versus um, oh God, the Werewolf is appealing to me. And anytime Broad Breaker gets in the ring, I want to see that. But looking forward to seeing it. I'm sure I'll be on the phone with you some. I don't know if we're going to go live or not during either WrestleMania, but we'll definitely be talking. And just, looking forward to watching it.
I'm figuring second night, maybe part of the first night, the second night we'll go live if you're available.
Yeah, I should be.
All right, guys. Like he said, I'm looking forward to watching some of these matches. Some of these not so much, but anyway, that's just how it goes sometimes. But anyway, that's going to do it for On the Fly Night, our WrestleMania 41 predictions. If you guys let us know, appreciate Steve Hill being in here and giving his thoughts. And if you got any predictions you want to share with us, get it out there and let us know. You can follow us on social media wherever you listen to your podcast at. Be sure to give us a follow, give us a 5-star review, and give us a subscription. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, which has picked up nicely this week. I've been really pleased with that with the last 2 episodes. But as always, Kyle, thank you for joining us, buddy, and we'll see you this weekend, and we'll talk. Maybe we'll be surprised at some of these matches.
All right.
All right, guys, that's going to do it. You guys have a great weekend and have a happy Easter.